I think I'm here now. Am I here now? Let me see here. There we go. All right, let me, oh my goodness. Let me, oh my. It is not my day today again, folks. The chat, there we go. Oh, I was trying to hook up my iPad and things would not let me do that. I don't know what the problem was, but that's something I can work out later. Now, if I can just move this over here so I can see it. Okay. So who all is, oh my goodness, you guys were busy while I was messing around. Okay, Patricia's here. All righty. Anna's here. Missy, hello. Jackie, good afternoon. Tracy. Brenda. Stacy, you're funny. Let the enabling begin. That's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. We will see what happens because maybe I will be enabling you. You never know. Yeah, Julia, that's right. You may get sucked into the fancy ladies. You very well may be. Hello, Martina. Stacy again. Licking Floss. Hello from North Carolina. Well, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, looks like you guys were talking amongst yourself. Good for you. Heather, you're here. Great. Brittany. Cross Stitch Joe. Oh, another newbie name to me. Welcome. So glad you're joining the stream. Oh, Jody. Okay. Sorry you have to miss us. Teresa. Somehow I knew you'd be here today. Teresa was, we'll talk about that later too. She was trying to enable me again yesterday. Now, hopefully you're not hearing too much background noise because don't it figure, hubby is now collecting leaves on the mower on this side of the house. Who'da thunk? But it is what it is. So hopefully he won't be too noisy and you won't hear that too much. Silja, hello. Bianca. Patricia Leong from Australia. Oh my goodness. The whole world is here. The whole world is here. Everybody is here today. So how is everybody? Is everybody stitching? Or just, oh, Teresa, Jody, yes. Catch it on the replay. You know you want to. You know you want to. And I do believe Teresa's back is a bit better, and she's being a good girl, from what I understand, and resting it this weekend. I believe. So is everybody stitching or chat or just hanging out or? Nora, you're making a Thanksgiving design. Yeah, hey. Good for you. Well, what do I have to tell you today? Preparing to stitch the first stitch today. Oh, good for you, Martina. Here comes the mower. Is that making too much noise? Because he's right up alongside of the house. I mean, if that's too noisy, I don't know what to do about it. Teresa, you're being very good. Good. Cross Stitch Jill, you're working on ornaments. Missy, you're back stitching a lot of small stitches. Searching for floss for new full coverage charts. Bianca, oh. Allison, hello. Finally getting back to stitch after a few days. Yes, Allison, I will have you know that I am using Cross Stitch Saga. So we'll have to talk a bit about that today too, because I am, well, that's a whole, we'll get into that whole story too. Heather, you're at a stitching retreat today. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Julia, no stitching, house cleaning. When you're done, I live in Pennsylvania. If you would like another job. Denise, Halloween Quaker, good. Randy, Christmas Lane, no full coverage today, huh? Go out and beat him with a wet noodle. That would do no good. He don't listen to me. He would tell me, get over yourself. Too bad, so sad. Put up with it. No, he'll soon be done. I believe, I hope, with any amount of luck. With any amount of luck. Cross Stitch Saga, my dear Brandy, is another app to mark off your stitches. Like Pattern Keeper, like Markup RXP. Those are the two big ones out there that I know of, and Cross Stitch Saga. Now, the only thing with Cross Stitch Saga is it doesn't read PDFs. So you have to have it converted to, it's a number of different files that it takes. It takes that open software that, if you have WinStitch or MacStitch, you can now, when you export your chart from MacStitch or WinStitch, you can now export it as an OXS, which is an open source, and then you can use it in Cross Stitch Saga. It takes pattern maker files, those PAT files. Oh, I should have made a list of everything that it takes. I don't think is it? Maybe it's here. Okay, it takes pattern maker files. It takes XSP, which is XS Pro Platinum. I never heard of that. It takes PC Stitch, which is a PAT file. It takes OXS files, which is from WinStitch or MacStitch. It takes CSS charts, which are the Cross Stitch Saga encryptor, and it takes Saga. So any of those file extensions can go in it. So I had a pattern converted so that I could try it, use this. I also made some myself from WinStitch so that I can put them in here and play around, because, you know, guys, we had this conversation about Cross Stitch Saga before. And of course, someone said, it won't be long until Karen has it and tries it. Well, guess what? Karen has it and she's trying it. And what I wanted to do was hook it up so that you could see the screen. Only it I have my phone hooked up so that you can see my stitching, and it wasn't letting me hook up a second camera. But I wonder, hold on, here we go again. Here we go again. Maybe if I unplug my camera, my phone, and plug it into my tablet, let's see if I can't do that. It's the wrong. Maybe I can do it this way. Hold on. Hold the phone. Wait. Well, I got you a picture. I want to share the screen. Let me settings. Mobile phone, playback, blah, 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 blah. Cancel that. I don't want a snapshot. I want to share the. Oh. Hold on. Well, that ain't gonna work. No, 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 no. Well, no. No, you don't want to see me. Okay, that's not gonna fly. Sorry guys, I have to figure it out. But anyway, I can maybe, there we go. Look at that. I can maybe show it to you with my phone. I'll bring my phone over here and we can look at Cross Stitch Saga. We'll try. How about that? Okay, let me switch my screens here. But anyway, I do like it. There we can see a little bit of it. So let me. Oh Lordy, is it not a live stream without? Oh good God. Hold on a second. I don't want to do that either. Would you guys, we can see your hubby. Yes, you could. Now you can see my, okay, I'm gonna, hold on. Are we not being true to form here, folks? Is this not always how it is? Okay. There we go. This is Cross Stitch Saga. So let me kind of move the chat a little bit over. Let me go a little bit smaller on here. There we go. There we go. Now, personally, I especially like it. Okay, we're going to get rid of me a little bit. Let the enabling begin. There you go, guys. Enable, enable, enable. Here we come. You would not expect anything less, would you? So, Cross Stitch Saga is another version like Pattern Keeper. Hi, Sheila. And it operates the same but differently. So maybe I can come a little closer. Okay. Okay, I hope you can see all of that. No, that's too boring. What's too boring, Stacy? You don't want to see my hubby. That's boring. Oh, ooh. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, there we go. That's a better picture. Okay, so let me go back here. So this is your opening screen. And these are the things that I have. These I made myself. This one I had converted for me. So you import pictures in just the same way that you did. Just the same way that you did with Pattern Keeper or Markup, no enabling. I know, if I don't enable you, it does get boring, doesn't it? And instead of clicking on the picture like we did in Pattern Keeper or Markup, you hit on the open. And then it reads your pattern and opens. And of course, you can resize it just like anything else. Okay. Now, what I liked, one thing that I liked is you can stitch in columns. Let me go over here a little bit. These are some of the key features that you can do. So when I hit on this zigzaggy line, I have options. So I can do the zigzags like I have here. Or I can do a diagonal in that direction. Or I can do a diagonal. Let's turn that off. Turn that off. I can do a diagonal in this direction. I can do this diagonal or this diagonal. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, what's different is where it starts your diagonal, whether it starts it on stitch number 10 or it leaves number 10 for the next. So it just bumps it. Okay. Then, or you can do a zigzag. Now that's the one that I am using. Or you can do a zigzag across the top. See, I really like this. Or you can zigzag it this way. Or you can zigzag it that way. I really like this feature. And I liked this. Because it avoids, you can stitch in a column, it avoids your straight line. That to me is wonderful because we don't want straight lines anywhere. Now, I'm not very far. So whether this is going to give me any kind of a column line, because this is a pretty regular pattern down the chart. It is pretty regular. We'll see. We'll see. So this is all an experiment, folks. So given that, you can also keep your picture up here, and it will give you a little red box to show where what area you're stitching in, which I thought was a very nice feature also. No, you can't import a HAID directly into it, Brandy, because a HAID you're going to get as a PDF. So it has to be converted to one of those other formats for you to use it. Now, like I said, I made one in Blitstitch. And what I did was I went out, because it's for my own personal use. I don't think, because I don't plan to share it. I don't plan to sell it. I don't plan to do anything with it except for myself to stitch it. I went out on the internet and I found a picture, a good picture. And I put it in Blitstitch and I converted it. And when I exported it from Blitstitch, I saved it as an OSX file. And then that I could put directly into Saga, Cross Stitch Saga. That worked. Now, there are directions out on the internet, and I can't remember who wrote them, and it was, I'm going to say, a year or two ago, with how to do it. The only thing is, in order to do it, and I did try myself, but in order to do it, you needed Pattern Maker, the one by Hobbyware, Pattern Maker. That app is no longer available. So unless you already had it or can purchase it somewhere, that is probably, Blitstitch conversion is probably your best bet. So that's that. It has a whole lot of other options. The other thing I really liked is up here, there is a box that you can put a box on, and you can select an area and you can drag it and make it bigger or smaller and say, this is the 20 by 20 area that I want to focus on and stitch. So you can focus that, just stitch that, and when you have that done, then you just grab the handles and you can move it to your next area, if you so choose to do that. That is also nice in the fact that when you insert this block, you have different versions of it that you can use. So this particular one, I can make into stair steps. So if I'm stitching on the diagonal and I want to just highlight that diagonal, I can do this kind of thing, highlight my 10 stitches, and then move it to whatever diagonal I'm stitching, which I also like that. This has a lot of pretty nice features that the other ones don't have. So that was another thing that I liked. To mark up this little business right here is your markup tools, and you just flip this little thing upside down. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then it allows you to mark stitches. If you mark them wrong, there's an undo button. If you want to mark a parked thread, you keep it up. There's a symbol over here for parked threads, but as long as you have that turned on, you can just pick your block and it puts it doesn't tell you the corner, but it does tell you that a thread is parked there. And you just long press your square and it tells you that there's something parked there. If you want to get rid of it, you just long press it again and it goes away. Or you're stitching and you mark it as I completed that stitch and it goes away. So, like I said, it has a lot of features that I like, that I really, really like. I am enjoying it. Another nice one is when I'm marking off my chart, I can mark it like Pattern Keeper, where it colors in the squares as you. Now that is one thing. If you go to try and move it by one hand, by one finger, it's going to mark your stitches accidentally. So you got to remember to use two fingers. But another thing I really liked is if I don't want it to, I can mark off stitches in two different ways. I can have them change to the color of the floss, or I can hit the light bulb and I can have them go blank once I stitched it. So this is my floss colors, and these are the ones I stitched, and it goes blank, or the color goes away as I stitch it. So you have that option. Wait, I'm losing some of this chat here. Yes, there's also, I kind of like it to fill in. I also like this one where you can stagger your edges of the block. But let me see, Allison is telling me the bounding box, click on the stitch and stitch numbers at the top left, and it shows you only the stitches in that box. This, is that what you're talking about, Allison? But that's another thing. You can go in and see all your floss numbers. You can, I can tell it that I'm stitching on Lugana. And yeah, I haven't figured that one out totally. So what's this? Yeah, that change, you can change your colors. The eye changes it to that it looks like stitches. I haven't figured all of these out yet. Oh, this is one. This little happy face here. If I do that, it will, instead of using any colors, it just highlights what's stitched. And you can change that color also. So if you don't like pink and you'd rather them be blue or light blue or green, you just work your way around the circle to pick the color that you want. I'm kind of liking that color. Okay, so then it just highlights what I've stitched. So you have lots of options as to, and this, oh, I thought I could move that, but I can't. There we go. And here it tells you your color. Oops. Over here it tells you your color number, how many stitches you have of that color. Oh, phooey, that closes it, obviously. Duh. Here you can also pick colors. Another thing you can do is, and all of these things you can't do in markup or Pattern Keeper. Okay, so this is unique to, these things are unique to this, but you can, I'm stitching in this column, all right, I can tell this that I want to stitch my stitches in a certain order, okay, so that I get this box that says I want to stitch the max colors that are left, or I want to stitch the minimum colors that are left, or I want to stitch by number. Okay, so your daughter was skating, fell. Oh no. Oh no, Allison, let us know how she is. I hope all goes okay. Bumps on the head, you never know, so get her checked. And at least let me know how she is, okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. You go and take care of her. She's more important than this. But if I want to stitch like from the least stitches to the most stitches, this will tell me that order. So if I click that I want to stitch the minimum stitches left, which would then give me the least, and I would work towards the most, then if I, for example, start here, oh no, wait, undo that. Maybe I messed this up that it won't do it for me now. I can't remember if I have to have the, I stitched that, if I have to have the box in. But anyway, I have not figured this whole thing out yet. But anyway, I am liking it because it has a lot of these extra features that the other apps don't have. And this is what I wanted to hook up as a second screen in addition to my stitching, because I thought maybe I would try and stitch a little bit today. Har. But we'll see. But you can see that I have my parked threads all marked. I didn't stitch that one yet because it's going to go down into this next block. See, and then I keep bumping. There we go. I'll put it up like that. But I'm rather, for as much as I used it, I rather am enjoying it. So Robin, this is Cross Stitch Saga. And it's another app like Pattern Keeper or Markup RXP. So yeah, like I said, I'm just playing around with it. I'm going to stitch this chart with it. Yes, Stacy, Cross Stitch Saga. And like I said, the downside is it does not read a PDF. That's the downside. If they would have it that it does, it puts in PDFs, that would be wonderful. But it doesn't at this point. So there's you have to get it in a format that it reads. The other thing that it does is you can take your grid lines away if you want to, but I don't know why you would. You can take your boxes away if you want to, but I don't know why you would. You can make them in 5x5 boxes, which might not be a bad idea. Then you only have to count to 5. You can make it that you just have like a plus sign in the middle of your 10 by 10, which divides it in 5 by 5s. Oh, that took it away. I'm not sure what this one does. I haven't figured out what it changes when I go to that. Therefore, I do not know. So like I said, I'm just playing with it and seeing what happens. So if any, let me just say this. I found someone who does the conversion to an XSD. I don't necessarily want to mention that name here because that person had a little bit of grief and aggravation because of it. Because this originally was a heaven and earth design. However, they found a picture on the internet and did it that way. So this is not heaven and earth's chart, and it is not heaven and earth symbols, and it is not heaven and earth's colors. This is a completely different take. It's not their chart. Okay? So I will say this. If anyone is interested in using him for this purpose, if you either email me or message me, I will give you the information and put you in contact with the person. Okay, but I'd rather not say it publicly just because I want to protect his privacy. And I don't want to see this person get in trouble. But like I said, this is not heaven and earth's chart that was converted. This is a whole different take on the same picture. This is for my own private use. So it is not going to be sold. It is not going to be given away. It's not going to be anything. It is strictly for my private use. So, this day and age, you have to be a little careful with copyright and all of those kinds of things. So I just want to overemphasize, this is not to be sold. This is not to be handed out for free. This is not heaven and earth's design that was converted. And this is for my own private use, never to go any further than right here. Okay? Hopefully that takes care of all the disclaimers. We shall hope for that. But while I am enabling, so I am going to continue to use this, and I will keep you updated on whether or not I am loving it, hating it, so-so, or whatever. So we'll see. But that saga, and I just like the extra features. I just like the other thing it does, it also gives you the statistics. Unlike Pattern Keeper, where you have to go and change the clock on your tablet, and then you can go back and see what you stitched on any given day. This keeps a running tally. Markup RXP also keeps a running tally of the number of stitches you stitched every day. So if I had to compare it, this is closer to Markup RXP than it is to Pattern Keeper. This does a lot more of the functions that Markup does as opposed to what Pattern Keeper does. Hello, Deborah. Oh, Karen, I missed you joining us. And Robin, thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so I If I had to say, this is closer to markup than it is to pattern keeper. The other plus side is, let me shrink her down. Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait, here. Ta-da! It's all one big chart. It's all one big chart. It's not in pages. Now, that being said, I did read on Markup's Facebook page that their update is ready. It's with the testers now, so that they will be looking at putting a new update out that will put that chart all together, is my understanding. So that's something to watch for people that use Markup RXP or are looking at that app. Like I said, if I had to compare this to Markup, is the one that's closest. Pattern Keeper, another absolutely wonderful program too. It's all in what you're looking for. Pattern Keeper always did put it as one big chart. This one, you don't have to answer any questions. Like, you don't have to tell it what the overlap is or anything of that sort. It just goes in. Can you put a paper pattern in this? I do not know that answer. Part of me thinks probably not. But I do not know that answer, so I don't want to give you false information and say yes you can or no you can't, because I really don't know. I honestly don't know. But this is a nice little thing, is it's all one. It's all one. And if I want to, I can take the grid away, so then you can really see the picture. And I will say the person that charted this did a very nice job. A very nice job. You know, I can make it small enough that it doesn't show hardly any pixels at all. It's very well done. I will say there is no backstitch, Missy. No backstitch. Oh, but does it show back? I do not know that answer. Like, if for example, a long dog that has backstitch in it, I don't know if you can, unless it's the appropriate file, it won't take the PDF. If it's the appropriate file, I don't know if it will show backstitch. I honestly can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about this yet, but we're figuring it out. But I also will say, this particular version looks a bit confetti hell. However, we're going to hang in there. Oh no, I'm going to hang in there and I'm going to stitch it. So we shall see what happens. I will keep you posted. In fact, I was just thinking this morning, I think what I will do is some more frequent stitch alongs as I'm doing this and learning and working on this particular chart. That could be the plan. They might not all, well, I can tell you they won't all be live, because we know how much I stitch on the live. We know how much I don't stitch on the live, but that's okay. That's okay. But I'm really thinking about having some pre-recorded stitch-alongs as I'm working with this program and stitching on this piece so that you can follow along. Will they all have talking? If I can find enough things to talk about. If I can't, you might just get some music. Hi, Norma. I'm glad you caught us today also. Oh, Bianca says it does show backstitch. Yay. Very, very good. Bianca, have you tried to put for example, long dog sampler in this? Just curious. Just curious. Like I said, it has to be the right format to do that, but just curious. So those are kind of my thoughts on Saga. At this point, this may change. It may get better. It may get worse. You never know. I will tell you though, while I'm talking about Autumn Church, and I'm going to switch you now over to I'm going to bring you over here now to my stitched piece as I turn this around a little more and turn this around a little more. Okay, I might have to undo this a little bit. There we go. I'm not going to tell you, or maybe I should tell you, how many times I restarted this. I'm not going to tell you how many times I ripped. I've come to the definite conclusion, as much as I want to do it, on this particular chart, tent stitch is not for me. And I hate to disappoint all those people that entered that, okay, we can do tent stitch on 32 count. I did more miscounting, not only miscounting, but thinking I counted correctly, but then placing the parked thread at the wrong place. My head had a hard time. First of all, I had to park it in a different corner. And when I put it there, I thought I was okay with that. But then what happens is when I get to that parked thread, because I'm so accustomed to parking in the lower left corner, I was using the thread on the wrong stitch. Because for tent stitch, and my tent stitches slanted in the direction of my top stitch, and my top stitch on a full cross goes lower right to upper left. So either way, whether I parked in the lower right or whether I parked in the upper left, it was still an unfamiliar corner. So that when I got to that thread parked in the lower right, which was the lower left for the next square, I didn't know what thread it was. And I was using the wrong colors. Stacy, you don't park. And yeah. I also tried to cross country it within the area. And then I was counting wrong. I must have started this piece at least 6 different times. At least 6 different times. And there was always something not right. I was getting to the point where at one point I frogged over 500 stitches because of that exact reason. I used the wrong colors. It wasn't, I made some kind of terrible, terrible mistake that I couldn't find. And I thought, this is a hobby. This is nothing that you should be that frustrated over. So just go back to your full cross and be done. Yeah, and Stacy, I still have the urge. I have the urge to do it. It's just I'm a bit gun shy with it at the moment now because I had so many starts and so many flubs and yeah, I agree, Deborah. I my head was just not making the right connections of, okay, this thread is in your lower right corner to do the stitch to your left. It is not in your lower left corner to do your stitch to the right. And that's where I got messed up because my head was saying this belongs to the stitch to the right. And that just was not the case. That just isn't the way it worked, or that wasn't the way it was supposed to work. It was supposed to be the stitch to the left, but no. So that was the reason I had to rip so many so many stitches, is because I did just exactly that. I used the wrong colors. Yeah, and it just wasn't right. And if I didn't park, then I was having trouble seeing the unstitched stitches. Like if I would do X amount of rows, then I was having, and it was probably because it was 32 count, I was having trouble seeing the stitches that were not stitched and where to put that other color. So I went, I said, no, this just isn't working with this old brain. It's been doing it too long one way that, it's hard to make that switch. Anna, no, Saga does not take JPEG. No, not to the best of my knowledge. And Bianca, if I did the 10 stitch in the direction of my first leg, then it looked undone to me. Something was missing. It looked like I didn't finish it. Yeah, and I realize that parking stays the same way, but then I have to, and then it looks like it's something's missing. It's not done. Teresa, yes, I think you're right. I have to stop doing 10 stitch on 32 count. Yes, my dear, I hear you. I went to 28 count on this, and I'm doing a full X. So far, I'm down 4 rows, and so far, knock on wood, it's been fine. Ask me that next week. I'll let you know. Deborah, you started your first work on linen in hand and you're loving. Oh, good for you. Good for you. You're stitching in hand on linen? Do you know what? Now that brings up something else. The definition Exactly, Bianca. And that's what I said. I have to go back to what is fun, and not not something that is stressing me out too bad. So that's what I did. But anyway, Deborah, stitching in hand. I am curious as to the definition that people have of stitching in hand. Because for some people, it is not the same definition as I have for stitching in hand. I'm curious. I read on some Facebook groups where people say, yes, I stitch in hand with a hoop. And that's they think they're stitching. That person thought she was stitching in hand. Stitching in hand. I don't have a piece of fabric here other than the one in my hoop. Stitching in hand is exactly, Deborah, no hoops. No hoops. No Q-snaps. All you have is your fabric in your hand and your needle in your hand, and you are stitching. Whether you stick and stab, whether you sew a sewing method, that's all stitching is in hand, as long as there is no hoop, no Q-snap, just your hand and a needle and your thread, and that's it. But I was really surprised when people, and it wasn't just one person, it was quite a few people were saying, oh, I stitch in hand with a hoop. I'm going, no, honey. Oh, no, honey, you're not stitching in hand. You're stitching with a hoop. So that's just always a curiosity to me of what people think stitching in hand is. And sometimes I go, oh, my lands, honey. Oh, dear, dear, dear. I wish I could jump through the screen and tell you what stitching in hand is. Brenda, you do it a lot using the sewing method. You know, I've played around with it. I really, truly have. And if I'm going to stitch in hand, which I do on occasion, depending on what the project is, I want to sew. I really, really want to do it as a sewing method. However, I find that my stitches do not lay as nice when I do it as a sewing method as they do if I stick and stab or punch, poke, or whatever your term for that is, where you're going down through the fabric, pulling it through, coming up through the fabric, pulling it through. My stitches lay much, much nicer doing it that way as opposed to the sewing method. Now, probably because I haven't done the sewing method often enough, or often enough or for long enough to really perfect how the stitches lay. That's probably because it is something that the more you do, the more you practice, the better you get. And I just haven't done that. I've always resorted back to stick and stab. Vicki, you're working on your first piece sewing in hand. Yeah, and I won't do it on, I have not tried it on full coverage. There are people that do. Deborah, you're loving it. You owe it to my. Well, you are quite welcome. You are quite welcome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Now, what I find, I say, When I use the sewing method, and I find it works the best for me to do it this way. If I'm stitching over one and it's something that is a solid color, for example. Okay, so you're stitching, say, one of the long dogs, and it's all one color. Yes, I will put it in a hoop, but I will leave the fabric very loose in the hoop. And then I will stitch my over one as a sewing method. And I stitch it so that I'm going bottom left to top right. And then I sew. I come up the bottom left, I go down the top right and come up the bottom left of the next stitch right away. So you're getting that long stitch on the back. Okay. And then when I get to the end of whatever that area is, I turn it on its side. So let me just grab I don't have anything here, but okay, if this is my stitching, I'm going this way across, and it's like a continental stitch. But then to come back, I turn my fabric this way and I go up the row as a half cross stitch. Okay. Then I turn it this way again and go across as a continental, then turn it this way and come back up as a half. If you look up, I can't remember the name of her website. I want to say it's Twisted Threads. I want to say that's what it is. But if you look up Ruth Sparrow, it's Sparrow, Ruth Sparrow. She has directions for stitching over one using that method. And that is the method that she has always taught for stitching over one. Now, it only works well if you're stitching just in one color, or you have big chunks of one color. If you have a lot of color changes, you can do it, but it's better if you have chunks, areas of just one color stitching, and it works great then. And I've done it a lot at that point with that. But yeah, and it's quicker. It's absolutely quicker than sticking and stabbing. And for some reason, when I do it that way over one and use the Ruth's method, my stitches look fine. Who knows? You saw several people in Facebook groups that do that. Yes. Use a hoop, leave the fabric loose. Yes. Yes, that's absolutely true. If you have trouble holding all the fabric and you want to sew as opposed to stick and stab, put it in a hoop and sew. However, then it becomes stitching with a hoop and not stitching in hand. That's the difference. Even though you're sewing, you have a hoop on it, so it is no longer stitching in hand, it's stitching with a hoop. It's just that your method of stitching within that hoop is different. It's not sticking and stabbing, it's sewing. And in order to sew, you can't have your fabric drum tight because you can't get that needle to rock if your fabric is drum tight. So you have to leave it looser. So yeah. Well, Kim, hello, how are you today? Deborah, you're going to become a stitch monster. Oh, that's too funny. You know what? There's all kinds of ways to stitch out there. And that's the challenge. That certainly is a challenge, to find what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. It's all what makes sense to you. What makes your stitching meet your how can I say, everybody's expectation of their stitching is different. Some people, everybody's different. So as long as it's meeting your expectations and you are satisfied with what you are doing, is all that matters. Nothing else matters. It's all about what you love, what makes you happy, what meets your expectations. And you know what? To heck with what anybody else thinks. But you guys know, I have said that from day one. That's exactly how I feel about it. And if somebody says, oh, your stitching is gorgeous, wonderful. If somebody says, oh well, it kind of looks nice, but ignore them. Just ignore them, because it made you happy. You were satisfied with it. Whether they think, oh, your back should be perfect, or this stitch is too loose, or whatever other things they can come up with, go away from me. I'm happy with this, and that's all that counts. So once again, I just reinforce that. So I have another bit of enabling for you. Are you surprised? Or are you not surprised? Kim, you're going to work. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. I'm so glad those days are over. My other bit of enabling is, who watched Blitstitch lately? Oh, Misty, no. 4 strands of floss on 14 count? Holy smokes. Oh my goodness. That sounds like way too much thread. And let me tell you why. Do you remember I was doing that thing of stitching for the pandemic? And the fabric was so ungodly. The fabric was so ungodly stiff. They wanted me to use 3 strands of floss on 14, and that was 14 count. Oh, no. That was horrible. It hurt my hands so bad. Oh, Bianca, you're going to go if I start enabling? Oh, I will have to cry. Well, this might be a good enabling. Who watches? Does anybody watch? Yeah. Does anybody watch Brian Blitstitch? And if you did, have you seen his last monthly update? Well, I did. And Brian wrote a program. What's it called? Oh my goodness, I'm not remembering. I did hear enabling. You're carefully laying down your hoop. Oh my God, you're too funny. I am fine, Carla. How are you? I'm glad you caught me live. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Brian's program is called XS Journal. Okay. And it is okay, if you've watched Blitstitch for any amount of time, or even just a little bit, you know that he does all kinds of charts and keeps all kinds of statistics of his stitching, all kinds of stuff. Well, he wrote an app that incorporates all that information into one app. Well, of course, I had to download that. You know that I had to download that. And I had to check it out, which I did. And it really is very nice. So, Brian, if you're watching this, you did a fabulously wonderful job, and I enjoy it very much. I just have to remember to put the information in it. But it starts out on a dashboard, and then you can classify your chart in several different categories. Like, you can make a wish list of charts that you want to buy. You can make a list of charts that you have. You can make a list of charts that you have kitted up, and the ones that you've started, and the ones that you put in timeout. Tracy, you're using it right now. Do you like it? Do you like it? I do. I just have to remember to put the stuff in. And then you can keep a list of things that you finished. Now, once you're in you go to your projects and you pull up a project, you can put all the details in. Like, you can put on the name, the designer. You can put it into one of those categories. You can put the stitch counts in. If it's one that has pages, you can say, oh, it's having an earth design, it's 63 pages or whatever it is. And yeah, you can enter all the statistics of what you're using, the count, the strands, the blah, 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 blah. But then you can enter the date you started. You can enter every day the number of stitches that you stitched. It will tell you your percent complete. It will tell you a tentative completion date based on the number of stitches that you stitched. Like, okay, I put Autumn Church in and put the date I started and the number of stitches. And are you ready for this? Obviously, I didn't get a lot of stitches done at one time. So if I continue to only stitch that many stitches a day, I will finish it September 29th, 2030. So is there hope of my getting it done? I have 2,878 more days to stitch on it. Oh, good Lord. So that's 8 years. In 8 years, I'll be 80 years old. Do you think I'll still be stitching? It just made me chuckle. It just made me chuckle. There's hope. Yes, there is hope. But it will tell you all those kinds of things, which is really nice. And then you can calculate or it will even keep track. You can put your hours in to know how many hours you spent or how many days you spent, or yeah, there's all kinds of logs in it. So it's a very, very nice program. I do like it. So I had to tell Brian how much I liked it and enjoyed it. Now, I will say this, just so full disclosure, because I'm not going to give you a line of bull. You can download it, or you can get it from the App Store or the Play Store. So it works on both Android and Apple. Um, it is free. However, the free version, you're limited to only 3 projects. Okay. If you want to put more than 3 projects in it, then you would need to purchase it. And if I remember correctly, purchase price was like $5.99. And it was a once and done thing. So, yeah. Joyce, you're absolutely right. Stitch Pal does the same thing. I don't know if it gives you quite as many statistics as this app does, but it's very, very similar to Stitch Pal. But it's another option that's out there. I would be remiss if I didn't try and enable you and tell you about it and help Brian out. He spent a lot of time on this, and my understanding is that's the reason that he has not done quite as many videos, is because he was busy, or maybe not as many videos, but didn't get as much stitching done because he was quite busy writing this app, which kudos to him. Yeah, kudos to him for doing that. He gave up his precious stitching time to write this app for everybody. So yeah, good for him. Bianca, you can't remember when you had just 3 projects? Okay. I don't know. Is there anybody that only has 3 projects? Who has less than 5? Anybody? I'm not raising my hand. Oh, Starlet, you have less. You only have 3, but you want to start 8,000. Well, you know what? You're not alone. You are not alone. I'm not alone at all. I have to. Oh, Tracy, that's interesting. You love the charts that showed the weeks that you worked on the chart. You deleted Stitch Pal because this was an amazing app. Good. Well, that's nice to know. Yeah, Deborah, check it out. Check it out. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth looking at. It's worth looking at. It's free if you want to give it a try. You know, you can put 3 charts in it to try it, and you don't have to buy it. And it's just a one-time fee. Kim, it's only 1 or 2 at a time. Good for you. I applaud you for being able to stick to that. Well, it might be forced, but you're still sticking to it. Yeah, well, you know me, I just check out everything out there to see. And, you know, if it helps Brian out a little bit, I'll certainly give him a shameless plug on here. Yeah, but it's worth looking at. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay too. That's okay too. There's nobody twisting your arm. Nobody twisting your arm. I just have to enable you enough to know what's out there. Only because your wallet that's why I said, Kim, it may be forced, but good for you. I really don't have that many started. I'm not like some people who have bazillions. And what my bad thing is, I'm working on something, whatever it is. And it's been worked on for forever. And I'm getting tired of it. And then that new thing is hanging out here. that says, oh my God, I want to stitch that. Oh, I really got to stitch that. I really want to make that and start that. So then I take the project that I'm working on and I put that aside and I start the new one and I work on that. But then I totally forget the one I put away. So then I'm working on this one. And then I get tired of this one. And then there's one dangling out here in front of me. Then I start that one. Then when I get too many, and I don't know what that magic number is. It's just when in my head I said, this is ridiculous, and I'm never going to go back to this, or I'm never going to go back to that. Then I purge. And then I go back, and then I get them all out, and I look and say, is that something I'm going to want to go back and finish? Or is that something I want to say, you're never going back to that? So then I purge. And when I purge, sometimes sometimes I will give them away, rehome them to somebody that wants to stitch them. Sometimes I'll just chop off that bit that's stitched and save the fabric for something else. Yeah, that's me. That's how I roll. Oh, what am I missing here? Oh, hold up. Let's see. Oh, Adventures of Stitching. Alicia, welcome. You're hopping on from snowy Ohio. Oh, is it snowing in Ohio? We're going to get rain, not snow. Not snow. Wonder if my sister's getting snow. She lives in Ohio. Oh, Leanne, you have less than 5. But like you can't count, especially up to 30. That's good. Oh, you have a drawer full over the years of collecting, but I take my time. Yeah. I just do purge every now and again because it's like, you know what, I lose interest in it, or I just don't like it anymore. And that's when I'll try to rehome it, or depending on how much fabric there is left, I'll chop it off and save what's left of the fabric and can the rest. Oh, Missy, did I do that? You were one at a timer until you found me? Yeah. I'm sorry. But are you having fun? Yeah, as long as you're having fun, it's okay. Deborah, snowing in Ohio, send you some to Virginia. Kim, you're just west of Cleveland, and it's snowing there. My sister is in Orient, Ohio, which is just outside of Columbus. I should probably go for no buying stuff for a year. Yeah. Well, you know what, Starlet? The same thing will happen to you as probably what happened to me. When I was still working, I would say, I'm going to buy things so that I can stitch them when I'm retired. Well, let me tell you what. By the time you're retired, your tastes have changed. And then all these new things come out. So you spend just as much once you're retired as you did before. So anybody that tries to feed you that line is not telling you the truth. It's a delusion. You will get just as much after you're retired as you did before. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm putting my hands up. Ask the one who knows. Oh, let's see. Where am I here? Oh, Leanne, you're doing Autumn Church and then you have focus pieces. Good for you. How's Autumn Church coming for you? Well, you know that Teresa Little Stitcher, she's pretty good too. She's a pretty good enabler too. Alicia, you're in Columbus too. Oh, that's where my sister is. Well, outside of Columbus, Orient. Yeah, I'm hoping we don't get much snow here. Teresa, are you still here? You're supposed to be resting your back, so hopefully you're still here. Let me tell you what she had me doing last night. This is all her fault. Yeah. Yeah, all her fault. She had me looking at chatelaines last night. I've never stitched one. And she had me on the website looking at them. Yes, she did. It's all her fault. And not only did she have me on the chatelaine website, she had me on European Cross Stitch looking for supplies for it. Teresa, I love you dearly. Yeah, I've never done one. Never done one. I've done a gazillion samplers. I've done Quakers. I've done Hardanger. I've done full coverage. I've done, Blackbird designs and those kinds of things. But I've never done a fancy lady. Well, I guess you could count, I think it's Lavender and Lace, Angel of Winter. That could be considered a fancy lady. So I did make that one, but that was, my God, 30 years ago. And I gave it to my daughter, and who knows where it is. But other than that, I've never done a fancy lady, and I've never done a chatelaine. So, blaming it on Teresa. Blaming it on her, if she's still here listening. She knows I'm just picking on her. I'm still here, but I had to pause you, so think I'm 5 minutes behind. Oh, you'll catch up, honey. I'm blaming it all on you. So I'm using the philosophy that because I have been stuck in samplers, I've been stuck in full coverage. I did my share of Hardanger and still do that occasionally. I am now looking at maybe, possibly, kind of, sort of am expanding my repertoire. So I will not give up my full coverage. Absolutely not. Um, but I am expanding what I do. This chat is a record of who I have to go and get. uh, Kim, I have the um, Bella Filipina ordered. That chart I will get as soon as it's released or it's pre ordered. And I have the fabric ordered. And I have I have a not so local shop ordering the threads for me. In fact, she just emailed me this morning, and she may have to order some of them, but that's okay. I said I'm not starting till the first of the year, and if I start a little bit late, that's okay. So all of that stuff is ordered. The chatelaine, have I ordered that yet? Teresa, I'm going to hang my head. I have not ordered it yet. I will. I will. I've not ordered it yet, but it's on the list. It's on the list. The fancy lady I'm getting is the newest one, Megwayans, whatever that new one is. And I ordered fabric from Fabrics by Stephanie. So we'll see. We'll see. So we'll see when all of my things get here is when I will start. If I don't have them all for the first of the year, as soon as everything arrives, I will start it. And the chatelaine I was looking at is I can't read it. It was something filigree lace winter. I closed the website. I'm going to look. I think it was a winter one, and it was a filigree one. It was very pretty. Oh, come on, shop. It was sort by size, midi. It wasn't a big one. Oh, actually, why don't I just search it? I think that was the one. No. Okay, Teresa, what was the name? I know it was winter. Filigree Mandela 1 winter. Oh, come on, go away. That one. Is that not pretty? So that's the one. It's not a big one, and it's not a little one. It's a medium one. It's 186 by 186. You know, you got to start out small. Okay, you're up to date, Teresa. Yeah, so I gotta expand a little bit because I'm sure you guys are getting all tired of seeing just full coverage. Although there's a lot of you that like just full coverage, but we'll expand a bit to some other wonderful, wonderful things. Now, cross stitch and special stitches. Depending on what the special stitches are, I'm okay, but I don't know them all. But as long as there's detailed instructions, it'll be fine. It will be fine. Well, it looks like I'm holding true to form and I'm not stitching anyway. So let's there we are. Let's sneak back here. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Oh, Vicky, you're gonna have 2 full coverage, a large sampler, a small, and maybe a fancy lady. Well, that's a good idea. Norma, chatelaines have fancy stitches in them too. Yeah, they have. It depends on the design. I mean, they can have satin stitching in them. They can have eyelets in them. They can have. Oh, I trying to think of names of stitches off the top of my head, but they can have most anything in them. It just depends on how she designed and how to, and filling in spaces. The other thing they have is beads. Was not always a big beading fan, but back when I did my 30 years ago, when I did Angel of Winter, the beads are what made the project. It really did. And actually, if I go upstairs in one of my Oh, Joyce, I did restart my autumn church. That's what you were looking at before I changed my screen. There it is. That's how far I am. Not 2. Not 2. In one of my upstairs rooms, I do have, I think it's still up there. I have Angel of the Sea. Another, is it? I'm pretty sure it's Lavender and Lace who put those out. I have that one close to being finished. Maybe I should go up and find that and see if I can finish that. Oh, see, now I'm enabling myself. So don't you people feel so bad. I'm doing it to myself. That's been put up there. That's been in the someday I'll find you pile for years and years and years. I think my daughter was still in junior high school, living at home. Well, of course, living at home, but yeah. So maybe, I should maybe get that out and try and finish that. Maybe after this live, I'm going to have to. I think I know exactly where it is because I used to keep a lot of my supplies upstairs. Until I had this room, until my husband redid this room for me. It is a sun porch, but it had far more windows than it has now. And we closed off some because it was just entirely way too many windows. There's 3 on this wall, and there used to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There used to be either 5 or 7. I think it was 5. And then there's 2 windows in the front, and there's this one in the back, and we closed some of the ones on the side off. So, and then he put pine, I guess it's pine paneling, I don't know, and new floor in and all this good stuff. So this has become my stitching room, my part of the house. At least during the day. Then in the evening, I'm over in the living room stitching with him while we watch TV. Leanne, you have evening in the park, but you're not sold on the fabric. Oh, you're going to do Raven Queen for your fancy lady. Teresa's doing evening in the park. She just loves all those trees around the outside. Jesus. Yes, Deborah, Autumn Church is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I was originally going to do Dominique Davidson's Window with a View. And then I saw this one. So I had to switch. How many whips do I have? 6 that I'm going to keep. I'm undecided about another 1 or 2. I have a few that I'm not quite sure if I want to stitch them yet. I have Death by Cross Stitch started, and I only have a bit across the top, and I'm not feeling the love anymore. Oh no, I do have that on the list. Yeah, I'm not feeling the love for Death by Cross Stitch anymore. Mainly because I started it in all black. Sir Frederick Frosty is, I pull him out every once in a while. No, he's not going to be done for Christmas this year. Maybe next. Yeah, he's just about 50% done. Again, that's falling. The only thing that keeps me working on it is the fact that it's for my daughter. But that's one that keeps kind of falling off the rails. Losing interest in it. Yeah. See, and what I really should do, but yet I have a hard time, is I really should do some kind of a rotation. However, so that I don't get bored with stuff, what I tend to do is work on the same thing and work on the same thing and work on the same thing. And then I get bored, and then there's the eye candy, and then the same thing goes away, and then the new thing gets started, and I tend to be more monogamous, and I don't go back to things, and it's my own. Well, Kim, I could, except I have so much. I have at least the top row of pages already finished in black, and I'm down on the second row. So to switch it to like a variegated or bands of color at this point would probably not look quite right, or would probably be something I wasn't going to be happy with. So, yeah, it's kind of going to move on, maybe, or at least salvage what part of the fabric I can. And it's on 22 count, which, I mean, that's okay. And I like 22 count. Yeah, I'm just not sure yet. No, I have not tried a daily 30 to designate to a project where you do, and that's where you do 30 minutes on something, right? And then work on something else the rest of the day. I've not done that. And maybe that would be a thought for some of these. Dimension stocking using pattern keeper, not doing like dimensions half stitch. Oh, that's why you have your morning coffee piece. Well, yeah. And that's probably what I should do, is switch either within the day or set a number of days and then try and switch. But then, see, whatever it is that's calling at me is what I tend to like. Oh, I can't get settled with this. I have to go back to that. I have to change up here. This old brain needs to start thinking a little differently. So I probably need somebody to smack me upside the head to jostle things around a little bit. But yeah, I'll have to try that. Maybe that will work. Yeah, because what I have is Autumn Church. I have a burgundy band sampler by iStitch Designs that I started several years ago. And that is, I'm down to the last maybe 6 pages of that. So that would be a good one to do 30 minutes a day on every day to get that done, because that's probably the closest one to being done. Then I have Jenny's stocking, Sir Frederick Frosty. That's about 50% done. Then I have the Quick Stitch Once Upon a Time, which is pushing close to halfway. Then I have Modern Folk Embroidery's Nightingale, which is really just started. Teresa and I started that, and I don't think I've touched it since we started it. So that's probably what I should, that may be a way. And maybe do more than 30 minutes, maybe do an hour on something, and then move to something else. You could even switch it up every month or two if you felt the need. Yeah. That's true too. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm going to try that. What I had done, not this past week, but the week before, during all my starts and misstarts with Autumn Church, I pulled out the band sampler and I was working on that in the evening in the living room, because that's just it's just a long, narrow band. So, it was easy to carry around and what have you. That's just it, Joyce. I have to ignore all these other things, and that's so hard to do. especially if I am really wanting to stitch something and then I feel this obligation to stitch on this, but I really want to be stitching on this. Yeah. Yeah, it just it pulls at you different directions. Like, now, what do I do? What do I do? Leanne, you do a block or a square at a time. Yeah. Well, the cat was jumping down. That's kind of what I'm doing on Autumn Church now that I have, I think, the final start of what it's going to be. Yeah, yeah, Kim, you're right. Little stitching time with end of the year hours at work. I do what I want when I'm conscious. You know what? If you're doing a lot of hours of work and then you have a little one, it's tough going. Yeah. Oh, Silja, that's another idea. Stitch 1,000 stitches, then spin a wheel for another 1,000 for another project. You guys have all these good ideas. I wish I could make my head stick to one. That's my trouble, though. I think, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to try it, but then, yeah, then I don't always adhere to it. I need somebody to stand over me with a whip and say, "This is what you're going to do." Oh, here I thought. Oh, Lily is your doggy. Oh. Oh, your little one is 23. Oh, that's all right. He'll always be your little one. My little one will be, let me think. She turned 49. No, she turned 39 in April. So she will be 40 next year, but she's still my little one. Breaking the rules you set for yourself is half of the fun. but but Alicia, you know, there are no rules. We have no rules. Oh, but they're the ones I set for myself. Okay. All right. I didn't finish. I didn't. Yes. It's more fun when you break your own rules than it is somebody else's. You're stitching for your grandson. Won't have it done in time though. He's due in January and still need over. Oh, Joyce, you better get stitching. Oh, Alicia, you're a Valentine's baby. Ah, well, I'm a 4th of July baby. Yeah, the firecrackers, they're for me, you know. Mm-hmm. They are. Believe that, and I'll tell you another one. Yeah. Well, my friends, yeah, Kim's right, Joyce. Just keep stitching. He'll never know that it wasn't done in time for his birth. Just get it done whenever. They'll never know the difference. He'll never know if it was done before, if it was done after, or whatever. Well, guys, I think today it's time to call it a day. We've been here for 2 hours. So, 4th of July is better. No, it's not. No, it's not. As a kid, it was very hard to have birthday parties and everything because all your friends went away for the 4th of July. People weren't, they went on vacation over the 4th. So if you were going to have any kind of parties, it was either before or after the holiday. So, yes, I think it's time for me to. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I look forward. I saw you are going to do one tomorrow. So, anyone that's here, please know Teresa Little Stitcher, my friend, pal, and buddy, has a live stream tomorrow. So, everyone must be there. Don't miss hers because hers are just as good, if not better, than these. But yeah, go visit Teresa tomorrow. And I will catch you all next Saturday. And I'm going to try and do some more. There's a couple of videos I want to make that I have not gotten to yet. And I will be doing those on, where's my list? On my stitching in hand, the way I do it. We talked about starting and ending threads on last Saturday's live, so I won't do that. And I'll do some stitch with me's. Might not all be talking. Some of them may be music, so just forewarned. And with that, I will see you all next Saturday, same time, same station, and hopefully I won't be late next time. Oh, it would not be a NeedleBugg stream without that. So hopefully we'll see you next Saturday. All of you take care, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.